Welcome to the regular scheduled public hearing of the Metropolitan Shreveport Zoning Board of Appeals. For public hearing agenda items, if you wish to make public comments on an application, we have comment slips at the speaker stand next to the podium. For future notification purposes, it is very important that you fill out a slip and drop it in the box when you come forward to speak. Please state your full name, mailing address, and zip code before addressing the board. We will call each case on the agenda in order and hear first from the applicant and then those speaking in favor. 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. We will then hear from those wishing to speak against an application. Again, 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. One representative of the application may then speak in rebuttal if desired. After hearing comments on each case, the board will then immediately deliberate and vote on that case before moving on to the next case on the agenda. Please note that when the board is deliberating, members of the public are not permitted to comment. Any member of the public may request a copy of the board's decisions on a particular case by contacting our office at 318-673-6480 after 1 p.m. tomorrow, or by accessing our website at shreveportcatompc.com. All of the ZBA decisions are subject to appeal to either the City Council or the Parish Commission, depending on the location of the property in question. Please note that it is your responsibility to contact the appropriate governing body considering about their procedures as related to the matter you are concerned with. Copies of this document and phone numbers to contact the governing bodies are available on the table next to the podium and in the entryway to this room. As a courtesy, please remember to turn off cell phones while the ZBA is in session. What do we hear from the board regarding approval of minutes from December 14th, 2016?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bergeron, second by Mr. Stewart. To accept the minutes. Please vote. We ready? All right, please vote. All right, motion carries unanimously. All right, the first case on today's agenda is tab 4, case BAP 1-17. Christopher Ferris, 5512 Asbury Lane.
Hello, my name is Christopher Ferris. My full address is 9812 Skyline Circle, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71118.
Thank you, Mr. Ferris. What can we do for you today?
I have applied for the special use exception for this residence. The residence is it's a cooperative endeavor between myself, my father, and my mother. We are putting the home there for us to live in. That's all I've got.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
No, I pretty well understand the process now.
All right. Any questions from the board for Mr. Ferris? All right, thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak for case BAP 1-17? You're speaking for or against? Anyone else wish to speak for case BAP 1-17? All right, anyone wish to speak against BAP 1-17? That's you. Come on up, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name is Sissy Cockrum. I am the president of the HOA for Uptown Homes Association, and the fence that's in question is just to the east and north of us.
Great. What case number are you here for?
BAC-9-17.
Okay, that's down. That's the fourth.
That is 13. We're on number 1. On our agenda, that is tab 13.
Okay, Mr. Ferris is the The one that we were discussing, that's in question regarding us?
At Piermont Office Park?
Yes,
Yeah, that's number 13 on our agenda today.
13.
We're only doing, we're only on tab 4, item 4 right now.
Okay.
All right, so we are at case number BAP 1-17. Anyone wish to speak against BAP 1-17? What do we hear?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bergeron to approve, second by Ms. Osborne. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Case BAP 2-17, 6844 Alvin York Lane.
Hi, my name is Julia Lane, and I'm trying to get my address is 6025 Shreveport, Louisiana, LA 71107.
What was your street address?
It's my rental address, 6025.
But what is it? You just gave me the...
Market
Street,
Street,
thank you.
sorry. Is this banned?
All right.
Okay. We're trying to put a modular on the property that y'all announced, and we've been here since November 2015, and we didn't find anything we wanted to buy. So we met with Mr. Mooney, and Mr. Mooney showed us something, and he designed us a house. So we're going with the modular on the property.
Okay. So, what's the status of the plat creating a new legal lot of record? Is that being taken care of? Are you aware of that?
Yeah, she has the plot right here.
Yes, sir, I have it right here.
Okay. As long as that gets to staff, I just want to make sure you're aware of it.
Okay,
That's a stipulation.
okay.
All right. Any questions for Ms. Lane from the board? Anyone else wish to speak speak for case BAP 2-17?
I'm Edward Mooney, 3402 Manchester Drive, Bossier City, 71111. And I'm with Premier Homes, and I'm just assisting Mrs. Lane here. Her husband couldn't be in. He works out of the country, so he couldn't be here. And she's just reminding the board something everyone knows. She's doing a modular, not a manufactured home, which is, the building standards are going to be comparable to site built. So.
Sure. All right. Thank you for coming today, Mr. Mooney. Any questions from the board? Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak for case BAP 2-17? Anyone wish to speak against case BAP 2-17? What do we hear?
Move to approve
With steps, please.
with steps, plaque, and the,
All right, motion by Mr. Stewart to approve with STIPs,
Second.
second by Mr. Bergeron. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Case BAC 2-17, 6837 Clug Pines Road.
Hello, my name is Mary Russell. My address is here in Shreveport. It's 6841 Clug Pines Road, Shreveport 71129. And I'm here covering for my sister. My sister is Brenda Joyce Emerson.
Okay.
My father lives at 6841 Clug Pine. He has double wide there. Currently, we're trying to put a double wide, replace a torn, actually a broken down single wide that we bought the property next door. So we want to replace that with a double wide. And we have a variance for 1 foot in the backyard because it's going to go 1 foot into the 15 feet that we have allowed. So we're actually putting the double wide there so my sister can retire and take care of my dad. I've been here 2 years. I live in California. And I've been here 2 years taking care of my dad, so she's retiring and moving next door to take care of him. He's 95 yesterday. So that's why we're trying to get it approved.
Okay, so One additional item on this case is the rear variance,
Yes, sir.
and that is contingent on the removal of the existing single-wide.
Yes, sir.
What's the timeline for that? Is it already gone, or?
No, sir, we were waiting for the city hearing to see if we could put the double wide or if
Okay,
we had to
so-
put another
so-
single wide.
You understand that once this is approved, if it is, that before you get a building permit for the new one, that old one will have to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We plan on moving that as soon as possible.
Okay, just want to make sure you're aware of the stipulation.
Okay.
All right, any questions for Ms. Russell from the board?
I do have a question
You have a
about
question,
that.
please.
So do we have a time limit that we need to, because we're trying to do this as soon as possible? So we're okay to remove that one and,
Well, I'll have Mr. Sweeney or Mr. Jean confirm this. There's a waiting period for if anyone chooses to appeal this case. If
Okay.
anyone's in opposition and they choose to appeal the case, they have 10 days. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
okay.
So will she get a notice, or after 10 days
I
if she
would
hasn't
say-
heard anything?
After 10 days, she's safe to go ahead and proceed with getting all the necessary stuff to remove the old mobile home and then the permit to put on the new one.
So we have to come and apply for a permit to put the new one on?
Right, so 10 days from today, if no one has appealed our decision, then you are free to come get a permit and begin the process of removal.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
If the decision's in the affirmative.
There won't be, there won't be.
I'm just saying.
Well, there won't be an appeal from anyone else
Right.
otherwise. It kind of goes without saying, so.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 2-17? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 2-17? What do we hear?
Move to approve
Yep.
with stipulations.
Second. Motion by Mr. Bergeron, second by Ms. Osborne to approve with steps. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Case BAC 3-17, 5002 West Monkhouse Drive.
My name's Thomas Anderson, 5002 West Monkhouse Drive. I'm just seeking approval to put a mobile home there on the property.
Okay. No other variances?
No, sir.
Any questions for Mr. Sanderson from the board? This is a new unit?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 3-17?
My name is Igor Lesko, 1531
Sorry,
Claiborne.
move the microphone a little
Yeah,
bit.
okay, my name is Igor Lesko, 1531 Claiborne, 71103. I would like to support this man building some house, or no, mobile home, and I will finally have some neighbor and not just empty lot bordering hotel parking lot. My question is only why a special exception is needed. Will be any negative consequences to neighbor or to neighborhood, or in your approval would it be addressed somehow to all these things?
Well, the short answer is it won't be for long. I'll actually let Mr. Jean or Mr. Sweeney give the brief history.
The special exception, back several years ago, the city and the parish changed the rules and said if someone wanted a mobile home, they had to make application to the Zoning Board of Adjustment or Appeals. And basically, this is a process called special exception that allows for mobile homes to be approved through this process. When the new code is put into place, the Unified Development Code, we won't have this process required anymore, and you will be able to get mobile homes based on what zoning district you're located in. If it's allowed, then you can just simply go get a permit, and you don't have to go through this process. But right now, under the current ordinance, you have to go make application to the Zoning Board of Appeals for every mobile home that's approved within the city limits or 5 miles into the parish.
I see, just because it's within the city limit, that's
Yes.
a special exception. And what do you mean for not for long?
There's a new code that's being considered by the city council and by the parish that's called the Unified Development Code, and it will change the rules, and it will not require this process anymore. And if you're in the correct zoning district for a mobile home, you'll just simply have to go get a permit through the building permit and not go through this process.
Will be in the future this area kind of re-certified, or where the mobile homes will be as a rule, or not? You don't know about it.
Well, it depends again what zoning district you're in. If you're in a zoning district that allows for mobile homes, then you can just simply go and get the permit. You won't have to go through a costly, I call it costly, the more expensive process of having to go wait and go through the board to get their approval. So if you happen to be in a district that doesn't allow for mobile homes, then you won't be able to have mobile homes in those districts.
You can go on our website, I believe, is a map, and you can look to see what district you are in, if mobile homes will or will not be allowed by right. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. ShreveportCaddoMPC.com has an interactive map under UDC tab, I believe.
Yeah, actually, if you go to ShreveportCaddoUDC.com, there is a map that shows you what the future zonings will be for the city and the parish, and you can look and see where your property is and whether or not mobile homes will be allowed. If you happen to be in a zoning district right now that one day will no longer allow for mobile homes, it doesn't mean you have to move your mobile home. You're allowed, you're grandfathered in to keep your mobile home as long as it's used as a mobile home. Once you remove it off the property or it ceases to be used as a residence, then you'll lose that right. But if you have something that's been approved today and it won't be allowed in the future under the new code, you're still allowed to stay there as long as you want to.
Will be this mobile home mobilized? Immobilized? I mean, it stays as a house?
It can stay, as long as it stays as a house and is being used as a house as was approved, it gets to stay there.
Thank you.
One thing he asked about if this only occurred in the city limits, but outside the city limits, it's the same.
It's true, it goes 5 miles out into the parish, yeah.
That you have to apply to get allow a mobile home.
Currently, yeah.
Outside, 5 miles outside the city.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Russell. Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 2-17? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 3-17? What do we hear?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bergeron, second by Mr. Stewart to approve. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Case BAC 4-17, 7803 Uri Drive.
Hi, I'm Celeste Tatum, 10695 Longfellow Trace, Shreveport, Louisiana 71106. And we're here to say that we have hopefully met the landscaping requirements laid out in our newest set of plans.
All right. So have the site plans been submitted?
No.
Okay. But you understand that before a permit will be issued, those plans have to be submitted to staff?
I was under the impression that they were sent.
They were sent, but they're being reviewed, but
Okay.
there's more changes that need to be made, so.
Okay, so,
Okay.
You'll just go through the staff on that, you don't have to go through the board.
okay, so we can.
Yeah, we can vote today.
We can work with Mr. McIntyre on that. Okay,
All right.
very good.
All right. Any questions for Ms. Tatum from the board? All right, thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 4-17? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 4-17? What do we hear?
Move to approve with stipulations.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bergeron, second by Ms. Osborne to approve with stipulation of the submittal of a revised site plan. Please vote. Carries unanimously. Tab 9 is case BAC 5-17, 928 Sheridan.
Alan Searcy, 946 Sheridan, 928 Sheridan, which we are applying for the excess size building, is a property that's on my property. I own 946 Sheridan, 2 lots, and then 928 Sheridan. 928 Sheridan is used for a storage house. When I moved in about 10 months ago, I have a 40-foot RV that I needed a place to keep, and I knew that behind 928 was a slab that I could modify and put my RV behind 928. My property is surrounded by commercial east, west, north parking lots, all of them. I'm the only residence on that side, on the 900, well, not, there's one other resident, I'm sorry. About 4 months, I purchased a carport to cover my RV and had it erected over this slab, and I did not get a permit because I was not notified by the seller that I needed to obtain a permit, so therefore I didn't know about the size. So that's what I'm doing, is applying for the excess size of the accessory structure.
All right, any questions from the board for Mr. Searcy? Are you aware of any opposition?
Not to my knowledge, nobody that I see here.
There's one letter back behind.
You're surrounded by parking lots, aren't you?
Do what?
You're surrounded by parking lots.
I have parking lots on 3 sides and a street on the other side.
We have a support letter here.
We have several support letters.
Should be letters in the file of the 2 owners across the street from me.
We have several support letters. We do have one letter of opposition.
Oh, okay. I own 4 of the houses directly across the street from this property that I own. Rental business.
Pretty good.
All right, any questions from the board for Mr. Searcy?
I assume since you own other houses there, you'll know to go through the permit process if you decide to erect any other structures at these other houses?
Well, yes, if I put any others, but I don't have any more RVs to put them on.
Just checking.
All right, thank you, Mr. Searcy.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 5-17? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 517? What do we hear?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Osborne, second by Mr. Stewart to approve. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Case BAC 6-17, 2516 Lake Crest Drive.
Hey everybody, my name is Anthony Blessing. I'm at 2116 Lake Crest Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71109. I'm here to apply for a size variance and a material variance. There's also a side and rear variance that's on the paper I see, but I don't need those. I don't know how we got confused on that, but
Okay.
the drawing that I submitted, I might have put 4 foot on the side variance, but I'll go 5 foot. That's not an issue.
All right, so just let's chat through this for a second. So the side yard is a 5 foot,
I believe the
requirement?
code is 5, is that correct?
and then what about your rear?
The rear, that's what I didn't understand, why there's a need for a rear variance. I'm about 30 foot from the lake, which there's a zone that you can't approach. I can't remember the name of it.
Contour.
Contour, that's correct. And I'm 5 foot back from that contour line, so do I need a variance for that one?
Mr. Jean?
Well, in looking at your plan, it appears that your building almost touches the contour line. So if it's going to be 5 foot back, we need to make sure that you show that it is actually 5
And
feet.
I'm sorry I didn't do that. I was incorrect.
It may just be a scale issue for your
Yes,
drawing.
and I'm not a professional draftsman, so, and the same thing with the side, I probably
That's
just
why
didn't
we
get
went
right.
ahead and we had that discussion. We also talked to the city of Shreveport that, of course, anything on the other side of that, any improvement that occurs over that, that's the city of Shreveport. We also checked with them just to make sure that there wasn't any issue of it being that close to the line, and they didn't have any problems with it.
Right,
Gotcha.
so
I
if we
guess the
don't,
fix would be we'd have to get a revised plan that showed the 5-foot dimension from the rear.
Okay.
If we did not put that as part of the,
right,
of the,
we can still vote on it today, but you'll have to just correct that on your drawing so it's
Okay.
clear where you're actually
Yes,
going
sir.
to place the pad.
And the building variance, the size part of it, there was already a structure there that was actually a little bit bigger than that. I just wanted to let you
Well,
know
that could have been, as you heard earlier, could have been grandfathered in, or it could have been illegal, non-conforming to begin with.
Gotcha.
So, under the current ordinance, apparently we do need a size variance.
Based on what we've just learned, we just need a size and facade material variance.
All right, so let's talk about the facade materials.
Yes, sir. The house, my house is brick.
Right.
And over the summer, we're going to stucco and stone face the house.
Right.
So that's the variance I need for the garages. I want to make that like that now, so it matches the house when I'm done. So in other words...
So you're going to be
And I-
matching in the future?
Yes, sir, that's correct. And I did do another drawing of an elevation view, because she asked me to do
Okay.
that. So
Okay.
if you need that, I'll give it to you.
Actually, if you'll just give it to Ms. Mapp, and she can put it on the screen for us, and then we can enter that into your packet.
And again, I'm not a draftsman, so
That's okay.
please don't laugh at my drawing.
So it's going to be a wainscot
Yes,
stone,
that's correct.
and the balance of the material is what?
Is stucco.
Okay,
And then the house will match that exactly
okay.
once it's finished.
And then the size is, 200 square feet?
It's, yeah, it's, yes.
Okay. All right.
100 square feet in excess, that's right.
All right, any questions from the board? Mr. Blessing?
So let me get this clear. The facade is going to now match what is required to be compatible with the house?
Well, the house will eventually match what he's building now.
Okay. Because the way we had worded it at this case, we were saying, that the area that was facing the street needed to be that, but at that time...
Well,
we
it
did
sounds
not-
like he's going to bring them both into compliance.
Okay.
In the process of construction.
Okay, so he doesn't really need a material
Right.
facade variance here, is
I
what we're
wouldn't think so.
saying.
Well-
Okay.
he can't do that.
Or am I missing something? Because this seems to be a moving target.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe we need to stipulate that he does
Can't do that.
the finish of the house and the garage need to be the same finish.
I think that would be appropriate, just so in case something later on, we have a misstep somewhere along the line, we don't want to have to make him come back here through the process.
Right.
Okay.
So what you're saying is we're going to vote on him restoring all of it the same as opposed to doing it by steps?
Well, yes, because we would need to do the variance if it was going to continue to be different.
Okay.
Right, if one was going to be one material and one was going to continue to be a different material,
Okay.
that would require the variance.
That's right.
But if he's bringing them both into compliance with the same material,
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We're okay
That's
with
what's going to
that.
happen.
But he could choose not to do the house at some point.
but then he would be in violation.
Then he'd have to come
You
back
would have
and
granted
ask
him a
for it.
variance.
So all you're going to be getting, all
sorry?
these,
You would have granted him a variance.
Well, not if we,
If you decide to grant him a variance not to do it.
but if we don't grant the variance,
don't grant
then he
the
has to,
variance, yeah.
he has to bring them in,
right.
correct?
Oh, you can't
That's
get a
correct.
permit.
Right, so what's actually before us, actually now, is just the size, assuming we get the new site plan, correct? So we're just, today, but it's just before us is the size of the structure.
Yes, and it's 450 square feet. I want to make a correction
450,
there.
all right.
Yes. And then I agree with making the stipulation that the facade be consistent with both the house and the detached, the accessory structure.
All right. Okay, any further questions from the board for Mr. Blessing? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions for us?
Well, the 450 square feet that you have,
Yes.
that's over what you're allowing anyways, or?
That's the
I'm a little
variance
confused.
amount. That's the number of square feet in excess of what's allowed by right.
Okay, in excess, there you go. Okay,
Right.
I understand now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 6-17? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 6-17?
My name is Alice R. Thompson. I live at 2512 Lake Crest, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71109. I'm Mr. Blessing's next door neighbor. Now, we've always gotten along. Now, I hope we don't fall out over this. But I do think that people have a right to help protect their own property. And this structure, being where it is, it's about the size of a house, is going to block my view of the lake to the west. I mean, considerably, because it's going to be like the size of a house. The way it is now, his property is to the side of mine or in front of mine. He told me the whole thing was like 700 and some odd square feet. Anyway, I'm glad to hear the side yard mentioned as 5 feet, because he had said it was 4. My house just happens to be built with a bigger thing because somebody else built it. And then something else I was curious about was the property line. What is going to ascertain the property line? When we bought our house and built the fence that's there, a surveyor, I don't remember the details because it's been so long, came out and found the lot stakes or posts or whatever you call those things, and they struck a line. And my husband built our fence, he said, to the east of it, inside our property. So I don't think that is the proper property line. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, and I say, I'm not a bad neighbor. We've always gotten along. Now, I've been sort of getting fed up with him with all the destruction he's done getting ready to do this. He has a pod thing out in front about the size of a boxcar, plus a trailer and all. I've hardly talked to them in months because I can't see them, with all this thing in between. So, and I just hope that this will get on the stick and get done, because I don't feel as if I even have a neighbor. And anyway, I hope I haven't given the impression that I'm a bad neighbor, because I'm not. But that's what I wanted to say.
All right, we appreciate you coming in. I think Mr. Bergeron has a question.
Maybe I misunderstood him, but he said there was already an existing structure where this one is going?
He tore it down.
Okay, but when that existing structure was there, did it block your view of the lake?
No, it was, but the side or in front, it was just, what was there was an open air. In the back was like a shed, and no, it didn't come back there. But this is going to be right down close to the water's edge, and I'm not good at depth, but I would say that's 50 or 60 feet. I don't know.
So the one there before was just a cover, it didn't have sidewalls?
At first, it was a carport with a shed sort of thing behind it. And in fact, it wasn't the original carport to that house, because the people that had lived there earlier had closed the carport in and made it into a recreation room. And I don't know who built this carport, because it was there when my husband and I bought our house in the 70s. And they had built this shed behind it, which was built around a tree, which has caused a lot of problem for him to get cut down. But anyway, but that's all gone now. It's just in ruins, but he's planning to build that and I think more, found it must be really close to the water's edge, and I just wanted to get it across that it's, to me, it's not going to help my property. And, but anyhow.
All right, thank you, Ms. Thompson. Do you have a question, Ms. Osborne? All right.
Smile.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else wish to speak against BAC 6-17? Mr. Blessing, would you care for rebuttal?
Not much, other than just to clear up kind of what Miss Alice is saying. The building that was there, it was a carport in the back, and basically that's why I'm doing this. I tore down the carport, and it did have a storage building in the middle. It was carport on this side. But they built it around this humongous tree. And the only way to get this tree down was to tear the building down so I could cut the tree down. Because it was so big and it was so close to her property, it could go either way. But anyways, the building will be within the line, whatever that line was called.
Contour line.
But it is 20 feet further back on my property than what it was before.
Okay.
I am going to say that. Now, does it block Miss Alice's view of the lake? No, because if you're at her house, you're looking to the left, the road that goes along South Lake Shore is right there. I mean, you miss a little bit of the bay, but the lake is out to the north of there.
I see.
So,
question though, did you get a survey done?
no, sir, I have not.
So what are you considering the property line?
Basically, it is that fence, but I believe from the rods that I found, it's about 6-10 inches closer to my property. And that's where I would go from the 5 foot from, is from there.
So the fence is potentially built on your property?
No, that's incorrect. Like Miss Alice said, I believe that her husband, who has passed, I believe he built it 6 inches onto
Their
her
property?
her property. Yes, sir.
You're going 5 feet
From where the rods, well, it'll be
From the
5
rod.
foot 6 inches, basically, or whatever the
Okay,
distance
so
is for the
so you're
fence.
allowing for that,
Yes,
assuming the
yes,
rods
sir.
are correct?
Yes, sir.
And so you're allowing for the fence being a little bit on their property?
Yes, sir. Because I believe that's true.
Are we comfortable with that as far as the rod, using the survey stakes, the survey rods? Okay. All right, any questions from the board for Mr. Blessing?
How tall is your building?
It will be, it's 10 foot from the ground to the eave, sir.
Okay.
So it has a higher ceiling inside than 8 foot.
And then the
And then the
pitch
roof
is
itself is about 5 foot.
4 to 5 feet, okay.
Yes, sir.
So it's about 15
412
feet.
412
So
pitch.
the one you tore down was how tall?
It was the same.
Okay. So this is not a extra tall, it's
No,
not
sir, it's pretty
RV
much
cabin.
exactly what I have. I just moved it back and enclosed it. We've been having a lot of crime in our neighborhood, which I'm sure Miss Alice will attest to. I just want to get everything inside a building and not exposed.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. All right, what do we hear?
I'll move to approve with steps where that both the house and the new structure have the same facade.
And that he submit a new
Yes.
site plan.
Yeah.
And that we approve the extra, or the
Size variance.
size variance.
I'll restate if we get a second.
A second.
All right, so we have a motion to approve by Ms. Osborne, second by Mr. Stewart, to approve the variance in size with the stipulation that once the project is complete, the facade materials of the house and the new structure match each other, and also a stipulation that staff receives an updated site plan showing that the structure is within the side and rear yard property lines.
Setbacks.
That's the property line.
Same thing.
Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Case BAC 7-17. 1557 Acorn Street.
How we doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm Foster, excuse me, I'm Foster Roan at 1557 Acorn Street, Shreveport 71101.
All right. Mr. Roan, what are you here for today?
Well, really didn't know. I'm surprised to be here. I'm concerned about why I'm here. It was about variances, but I have gone to the proper people, I thought, and gotten to permit to go ahead and build. And I told them exactly what I was doing. And they told me at the, I guess, whoever y'all represented, that they didn't understand. They said it's been a mistake. And I yet have not found out what that mistake is exactly. Because I came to them, and I've talked to Mr. Talton, the engineer. I talked to all the top executives, and they gave me my permit to go ahead and do whatever I'm doing. And I'm confused, really, at this point, because I got the permit to go ahead and do.
What did you get a permit to do?
To go ahead and build a garage for storage on top.
And do you have that paperwork? Do you have
I have the permit, yes.
Do you have the drawing that was referenced in the permit?
Well, no, I didn't bring it, because I thought they might have it here, because they didn't want to ask me to, they drawed it, so. And what I did, I told them at the time when I said, I wasn't sure exactly what I could afford to build, and asked, that was what, 8-9 months ago, back in November, and when I started building, things started coming to us, well, if I can get a little bit more money for this, I can do this, I'll do that. So it came out to be a two-storage.
Or it came out to be?
It came out to be a
So it
two-storage.
didn't start out that way?
It didn't start out that way.
All right, so when you
But
went to
they
get
knew-
your building permit, it was a single-story detached garage?
No, it was a two-storage. They wanted it, I told them it was going to be a two-storage. We got that understanding, that it was going to be two-storage, but it was going to be a storage on top and the garage. But I told them, I said, now, I really don't know. And I was just as honest, I'm telling you. I said, I really don't know, because I never knew how much money I could get for the property. Because what it started from, I just moved back from Dallas. And my sister and them, in the house they in needs to be upgraded. It's in pretty bad shape. So they didn't have the money to do it. And my sister's disabled, and they're all in their 70s, and I'm trying to help. So I said, the best thing I can do is, you guys put the house in my name, and I'll go ahead and borrow money against it to fix the house. And as I talked to the bankers and everything, they said, well, the more you add on, the more money you can get to pay in the basic, you know what I'm saying, for the addition to it, you can take that money and build up the old. And that's what I was doing. I did it just that way. I did everything I was told. So I went to the city and told them, I said, well, I'm building on, come on out. That's before I even started. I said, come on out, and I'm going to explain to you exactly what I'm doing, because I really don't know what I'm doing. You understand what I'm saying? I said, but I draw this drawing up, and I asked them to come out. They said, no, Mr. Ron, we know what you're going to do. Go ahead and build. Just like that. And I called, 3 months ago before I got the second storage up. I said, come on out, Mike. Let's talk. I'm going to show you. Go ahead, Mr. Ron. We know what you're doing. And the next thing I knew, when I finished getting the framing up, someone evidently stopped by, because I never did see him. And then I got the letter about coming in and seeing you guys.
Okay, so that was in the end of October?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
October,
so
November.
the end of October, you had the second story framed up.
Yes, well, I never did get there. I was getting there.
I think it's pretty much framed up.
No, it wasn't completely.
I'm looking at a picture of
Oh,
it.
you see the picture? Well, maybe in October it's finished up then.
The exterior walls are framed up.
Okay, yeah, now they are.
Right.
I see, yeah, now they
So
are, yeah.
you knew, so then you were informed that there was a problem.
Yeah, they told me to come.
You gotta come see Mr.
Yeah, they told me to come in.
Mr. Sweeney and staff, and,
Mhm.
right, so there's a problem.
Yeah.
Subsequent to that, it's now roofed and blacked in and dry.
They told me, go ahead. I called them.
Called who?
I called Mike, and I talked to someone else. Well, Mike one told me to go ahead, and he said, first he said, we're going to come when you get your frame in. Frame up, when I frame it. Then I said, okay, Mike, the frame is up. Come on out. He said, no, Foss. He said, have you finished the roof? I said, no, I haven't finished the roof yet, but it's, I'm getting there. Because I hadn't put the roofing on yet.
Who's doing the work for you?
Well, this one guy was doing it, he left. His name was TKO, is Terry Brown. And I got the police on him now because he left with money of mine. So I had to, but I got a guy now, his name is Billy Gates. He's one, my classmate is helping me build it.
Okay, so my question is, when you were cited for the variance violations,
Mm-hmm.
why did you continue to build before taking care of all this?
Well, it's just, I mean, all this had basically been done when I got the variance. No one didn't tell me to stop. No one didn't tell me to stop. They just said, go ahead, and because if I had stopped, if it had started raining, I would have run the whole thing. The whole thing would have been run because it started raining. The guy left right when it started raining, and I couldn't stop at that point. So I had to put the top on it in order to keep it from ruining the whole thing. Because the way the guy had done, he had left so many openings in there because he had connected to the old house. And you had to go ahead or it would start flooding in the old house, old part of the house. So I had to keep on going at that point. And he knew that. That's why he was trying to embezzle more money out of me at the time, you know what I'm saying? Well, we got to have this money, we got to have this. And I said, you're already $4,000 ahead right now. And he said, well, no, I can't do it. And he walked off. So I had to do something to her. I went and bought all kind of tarps and stuff and put over it to keep the rain from damaging it. But that wasn't going to stop it. It was flooding. That's what that days it rained 3 or 4 days in a row. And I had to do something to keep it from destroying it.
So you said no one told you that you were in violation?
No.
Mr.
Not in
Clark,
violation.
you care to chime in?
No, I actually went out to the site.
Oh, okay, Judge, that's right.
And then I shared with Mr. Rohn that he was in violation of the ordinance and that he needed to apply for the approval in order to do what he was doing on the site.
This was at the end of October.
I think it was at the end of October.
Okay, I've got photographs dated 10/27/16. Right, with just the top level is got
that's just
framed
but
in.
he came before that.
May have come a little before that.
All right,
Yeah, he came before that.
But by this time, you've been informed that you're in violation.
But what I'm saying is, when he said in violation, I didn't think he was talking about I couldn't stop working on to make complete, because it would have run the whole thing then. At that part right there, it would have rained on it and everything would have been ruined.
It may get even more ruined today.
I mean, it wasn't something intentionally. You know, it wasn't that. It was something, hey, I didn't know no one was giving me the right advice, and I wasn't going against this gentleman here or anyone else. Only thing I was concerned about is getting it from from raining on it.
Who's Mike?
Mike is the,
That would probably be Mike Sepulveda doing the permit center.
the permit set. Because I called everybody I could, said, come on and help me, because that's all I've been doing from the beginning, even when before I even started. Mike them knew me before I even pulled the cement. Mike them know me, and he had guys coming out and said, okay, you're doing it right. And nobody wasn't telling me anything at that point.
How many times did you pour concrete?
Once.
So was there a pad there to start with?
No.
All right, well, I've seen two pictures. One had a small pad, and then now the latest one has an extra wide driveway that seems to take in what is an alley that may or may not be abandoned.
Well, it wasn't about, I went and asked.
Have you petitioned to get that alley?
Yes, and they said no. I said no, and that they couldn't, I went and got the permission to pour a wider driveway is from the top, Mr. Zba.
So that's two times you poured concrete.
No, I poured it one time.
Well.
Oh, you talking about, okay, for us I know what you're saying now. You saying for us the pad, the foundation.
Yeah.
And then I came, well, it wasn't twice. I did, twice with the driveway.
Okay, so
because I had to get the permission for the driveway.
Yeah, so things just keep adding on. Seems
Yeah.
like. So what you got permission for
is the pad and the driveway.
Right, which is not what you've built.
Beg pardon?
Is not what you've built. You got permission, you got approval to build a
two-story, they said.
Detached garage.
Right, with a storage on
Okay,
top.
is it storage?
Well, it ain't nothing at this
Is it
point,
is it
because
going-
I ain't got finished yet what I
Going
want
to
to
be
do.
storage, or is it going to be living quarters?
I hope to be living quarters.
Okay, so now it's not storage, it's now secondary residential.
And that's why we here talking, at least that's what I
That's one
think.
reason we're here talking,
Right, okay.
right? There's a rear yard setback. How big is your lot?
44 by,
And what's the percentage of that area now covered under roof?
36 by something.
So,
Yeah, 36 by something.
so the variance you're requesting is almost 50% variance.
But it's not gonna be covered, that's for the driveway too. They talking about the driveway too, but that's not
I'm
the,
correct, 47% variance?
Right.
So you're asking for a 47% variance in what is allowed by right.
and I'm saying, sir, I don't know. It's as if like I'm doing something just to be doing it. These things I did not know. And I was asking for help, and no one give me the correct answers, I guess, because I wouldn't have done it that way. I don't have money just to throw away, so I was asking questions to everyone that I could. And then, you understand, evidently I didn't get the right answers. That's just the bottom line, because it's nothing I tried intentionally
I
doing.
understand. My point is this, it's hard, these cases are often hard enough when it's he said, or he said, she said, or she said.
Yes.
All we have today is you said. This is not a court of law. I can't subpoena Mike Sepulveda to come in here and get his side, right?
Yeah.
So,
I understand what you're saying.
I mean, we have a lot of information we don't have,
Okay,
right?
okay.
We have the photographs and the paperwork, and then we have what we know our staff did, which was to tell you that you were in violation, and yet you continued to build, right?
I didn't get it at that point, seriously.
Okay.
I didn't get
All
it
right,
at that
fair
point and understand that I could not.
All right, any more
I had to
questions
stop.
from the board? Mr. Roan?
Big pardon?
I'm asking if the
Oh.
board has questions for you.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, this is going as a secondary structure. He
Secondary
makes it, if he incorporates it into the house in a way that makes it part of the primary structure, we get rid of that variance.
That would be true.
But it's still too big, there's some setback
Yes.
issues that would be a problem. If the alleyway gets closed, the setback issue goes away.
This is true.
One of them does.
One of-
The rear yard goes away.
Right.
Okay,
Not
so
the- not the
where
side.
would we be at that point if those two somehow miraculously get worked out?
Well, we would have to,
No, great.
we would have to see plans that showed how it is integrated into the floor plan. It can't just be attached to it just by a common wall. It would have to be functioning all as one unit. And we would have to, and I would, if we get those plans in, the zoning administrator and I would evaluate those plans to see if it indeed is functioning as a single-family residence. If it is not functioning as a single-family residence, according to that plan, we're right back where we started from.
Well, as of right now, what's the feasibility of that happening?
I don't have enough information to answer that question.
It's really up to Mr. Roan to answer that question. I mean, the likelihood of the alleyway getting closed is very slim because I count 27 lots that would have to sign a petition to get that alleyway closed.
There's some
But
paperwork back behind there that sounds like they've got everybody, and maybe I'm misreading it.
I did. I went and got the survey, and then people agreed to, they agreed that they'll go along with it. But what happened is the lady just took over. She said it can't be done.
Who?
The lady, I forgot her name. I would have brought her name with me.
I'm going to give you one piece of advice.
Okay.
Moving forward.
Okay.
Take better notes.
I would if I knew. I ain't never
I'm-
been before.
I'm serious.
Yeah, I never been here before, so I didn't know exactly.
Okay, then listen to me.
Okay.
Document everything,
Mhm.
get copies of everything.
Right.
To back up what your claim is,
Okay.
right? Because right now, we have no idea what happened when you first filed for your building permit. You can't produce that for us.
Well, here it is here. For its building permit.
Okay, but what did you get approved for? There are no
Oh.
drawings attached to it.
Okay.
Right?
Well, yeah, it is.
So if there was a drawing in your packet that match the photograph of what I see.
No, it don't match the part. No, it don't. It don't match the par.
Okay, well, then that's the problem. Then you don't have an updated plan that when you came back to the building department and said, okay, I'm going to add a floor or I'm going to move this wall, that did not get updated, right? So you have no paper trail to prove your side of the story.
See, but that's what I'm saying. I didn't do this because I had hired a guy to do this. He walked out on me. He's supposed to have done it. That's what I'm saying. It was I'm taking the fault, but I'm just saying I'm telling you the truth though. What happened, the guy was doing the work and he's supposed to have went and brought all the paperwork to you guys.
Okay, well, he's working for you. You have to, you're ultimately responsible. You're the property owner. You're the property owner.
I'm taking the responsibility, but I'm just saying what happened.
And I'm just telling you.
And that's why I had to call, I got him on.
Document, okay. Right?
Well, I got him documented for us at the police right now. So
I don't care about the police.
Yeah, right? I'm just letting you know.
I really don't. All I care about is what's in front of us. And what today, if we voted today, what's in front of us is a secondary residential, right? Which means you want to have two separate residential structures on one property.
Well, I don't see it. That's what I'm saying.
Stop talking, please. Let me tell you what's before us.
Okay.
All right. We have secondary residential. We have a rear yard setback and a lot area. The side yard went away, or there was never a side yard?
It was just the rear yard setback.
The rear yard setback. Now, it looks like you've already poured your driveway pad into the alleyway. Like the entrance of the alley is now your pad. Is that true?
I got permission for that.
I didn't ask if you got permission. I asked if it's true.
Yes.
Okay, so you now have poured concrete at your expense on city property, right?
Yeah.
You're now an apron. You provided an apron for the alleyway.
I did.
Right. You still need the setback because if you can't count the alleyway, you're too close to the property line with your structure. So, the size alone is a 47% variance. That to me is not really something that's surmountable for me. And the other members can vote how they want, but I think for us that sets a precedent that we can't step back from going forward. That's where we are.
Can I speak?
Yes.
What I was saying is this. When I went and got the permission, actually, and they know the size and everything, they showed where I was going to pour from.
Okay, where is that documentation? You can't
Right.
produce
I was
that.
going to show you,
I
said you
can't
want to see
vote.
it.
I can't make an informed decision if I don't have any information.
I said I was going to show it to you.
Okay, well, if you give it to Ms. Mapp, I asked you earlier if you had drawings, you said no.
No, I didn't. I said, I have it right here.
You said it wasn't attached. Please, you can put it on the overhead.
This is,
If you can zoom out a little, Debbie.
Okay.
Yeah, go out, please. All right, so, Mr. Rohn, what are we looking at?
We're looking at this is the foundation that was poured first.
For the garage?
For the garage. And then I went back and I got permission for that.
Okay.
Permit for that, for pouring that. And then I went back and talked to the head gentleman up there, and he said, well, Mr. Rohn, you right here, and it's not enough for your turning range. He said, why don't you go ahead, and we'll give you permission to go out further into the alley. He gave me permission to do that.
Who is he?
The gentleman here. That's why I was trying to give it his name. I think it's Mr. His name's not even on this. It's just got his Department of Engineers and Environmental Services. It don't have his name
Did he
on
come
it.
out to your site, or did you come here to see him?
I came here and went to his office, red big guy, and we sit down and he pulled it up and showed it, and showed me what I was doing. Because I asked before I did anything, I asked him, can I do this? And they gave me permission to do it.
And that says for a garage.
Right, and what are the dimensions of that? There are no dimensions that I can see.
I think I see one on the
There
far
it is,
left
right
bottom.
32 feet by, I see 32 feet on the left side.
Is that showing a 5-foot setback from the
36
property
to
line?
37.
37, okay.
And 32.
Okay.
And what's below that 32? Is that 5 foot?
Yeah, 5-foot
That's
property
5
line.
foot going out to the, that's from my property line.
And that's to the rear.
That's the rear, yes, sir.
Which currently is what you built right there, 5 foot off the property line?
Yes, sir. That's my property line, yes.
Wouldn't he, Mark, a question for you. Wouldn't he had to have a setback issue at that point in time when he was 5 foot? Because they gave him a permit to build something 5 foot off the property line, which he did.
Well, remember, it first came in as primarily as an accessory structure.
Right.
That's different rules.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. So this morphed into this secondary residence overnight, and all of a sudden now we have something with
Setbacks are different.
Right. You get a whole different dynamic. So the part of the problem is the fact that it was like a moving target, and by the time it got to us, all these violations had piled up, and it was not where it was supposed to be. And it causes me to question whether or not the building permit office would have approved what he has now, because that's not what they approved originally. So because of that, he's actually, in some ways, he's in violation of what the building permit office has actually asked for. Now, I don't know about these conversations with Mike and whomever. None of that, we're privy to any of that. And I don't have supervisory control over what permit does.
So I think in summary, you started out, it says foundation for garage.
Yes, sir.
So
With
there's
a storage.
certain requirements. If it's a garage, you have certain setback requirements.
Yes, sir.
But then you changed it to your home. And that falls under different codes.
And that's why I called Mike and I talked to the gentleman out here when I came down and asked. I said, I got more money than I thought I was going to get for the property. Because it was all about me building something that could add on to build up the old property. It wasn't nothing, it wasn't really about this. I got into this trying to get money to build up the old house of my sister in. Because one is disabled and they need all kind of things in there for his handicap and stuff like that. That's where all this started from. And it got into be bigger than I thought. You know what I'm saying? About that, I was trying to do something against any policy or anything. I was glad I was doing something or getting enough money to get more money to build up the old property.
I mean, this is a side note, but I'm also concerned if the pad foundation was poured for a garage, that's a different specification than if it's being poured for a 2-story structure.
Yes, sir. Let me get to that. I was going to get to that.
The weight of it, the footings are different.
That's what I'm saying, sir. One of the inspectors came out before the day I was finna pour, and he said, Foster, look, you make sure that they put extra steel in here for your ups going up. Because they started joking about it because he said, oh, you're going to have what they call a man cave. You're going to have a big man cave. But that's what they kept on joking about. And I said, okay then. What they did is put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They went down deeper, another 3 feet. And put deals in there for the up storage.
It just baffles me that you don't have any more drawings than this for this project.
It's not saying I don't have. I do have some, but I'm just saying
I'm
that
talking about blueprints, plans. I mean, the PSI for the concrete. I mean,
I have. I said, like I said, I didn't really know I had to have anything in here because I was confused what everybody was talking about because I had went verbatim.
Who designed this for you?
I did.
Okay, so how did you communicate your design?
That's what I was trying to tell you. I was trying to find.
Stop trying to tell me and tell me.
Well, sir, I can't tell you anything until I go get the material and stuff and bring it back here to you. Because evidently you said you're not believing what I'm saying, so.
The very best thing that can happen today is that we defer and continue for 30 days till next month, okay? And if you have documentation, if you have blueprints, plans that are approved by the building permits, that goes a long way to help you.
Okay.
But this doesn't really tell us anything. There's no date on it. There's no stamp from the building office. I mean, nothing.
Well, I know I didn't bring, if you understood what I'm saying, that I was working with a crook, and you said you didn't want to hear about it.
Yeah, I don't care about the guy who left you. I mean, I'm worried about.
But that's the one that was over the project at the time that the timeline that you're talking about. He was over the project at that time. You understand what I'm saying?
As a carpenter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, you're contracting it then.
Yes,
right?
sir.
You hired him?
Yes, sir.
Who hired the plumber?
He's supposed to have hired all the folks.
Are you tied in for sewer?
No, yeah, well, I don't know what they did. I got to do all that over. All this got to do
All
over.
right, let me ask you this. In that foundation you poured,
Uh-huh.
is it stubbed up? Is there plumbing stubbed out of
No.
it? All right.
In some part, I'm telling you, they messed it up. That's why I want to say yes, because it's messed up.
Yeah, because
They
you
gotta
don't have a
redo
set
it.
of drawings to work off of. Because
Mhm.
if this was originally going to have all the stuff that it now has, you would have had plumbing in there.
It wouldn't. That's what I'm trying to why. I don't know how to tell you, but I had a crook working for me,
mean,
and he messed me over, and that's all I can say.
Okay.
And that, I mean, that's the only thing I do. I can bring it back, what I had.
Ms. Osborne
and
has
show
a
you.
question.
Have you done anything to the main house?
Well, we're connected to it, ma'am. Connected to it, so we
Well, if you
could,
have disabled relatives, they're not going to be able to go to that second story.
no, because it's not for, I was gonna build that up. I did that for myself on that part, because they needed a part on their part to get theirs, you know, I was gonna.
Right,
I was trying to
handicap
get
accessible, is
right,
what you said. Have you done that?
I haven't got that before yet. That's what I'm saying. All this just happened in the last 2 months. And that's what I'm saying. I haven't done anything really yet. I haven't finished anything. Because, I mean, that's why I need the money to do it.
All right, Mr. Stewart, do you have any questions for Mr.
Yeah,
Roan?
you say that you've done this building, and the chairman has so eloquently asked you, have you stubbed in up to the upstairs, the upper part? Have you done any electrical work up there? Have you stubbed in up there? Have you done anything upstairs?
I had put the top on. I put the top on and framed it in, and that's what I was trying to get to. And I stubbed it up and all of that. But I'm saying, I was trying to tell you that the guy that was doing this work walked off about 3 weeks ago. I would have had all that completed if he had not walked off. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I mean, I can't tell you no more than that he's a crook, and he walked off from me. I could have had the thing done if he had not walked off from me. That's what I'm saying. But I'm trying to understand what you wanted me to, you know.
Well, he may have done you a favor, because if it was completely finished and you don't get approved here, you have to tear it down.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of stuff.
The sooner you get these violations taken
Correct
care
it.
of,
Yes, sir.
the
Yes,
sooner
sir.
everybody can move on and you can, you know, be out less money, right?
trying to
And
tell you.
The staff will work with you as best they can, but
Yeah.
you got to, you know, bring in your drawings. Mr. Bergeron, do you have any questions? All right, so,
I'll bring them in.
all right, thank you very much.
All right.
Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 7-17? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 7-17?
I got a question.
Oh, okay.
My name is Leonard Roan. I live at 542 Barry Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71104. I'm pastor of the Oakland Baptist Church, and our 2 lots is back of Mr. Foster's property. My concern is that he's already taken up 10 feet of the alley, which is 20 feet. And our concern is that the other 10 feet we would like to be for our property. He already has his share. And the alley also provides the only entrance to our property, to our lots, to get in and out. So if he's given the other half, we won't have any interest into our property.
Right, so
I did send a letter to the and along with pictures to show what was going on.
Right, so are you, and by extension the church,
Yes, sir.
in agreement or disagreement with closing the alley?
I'm for closing the alley, because in 1996, the members of our church, we closed the alley on the other side of the street. We got petitions and we closed the alley. So now, and you know, it's closed. So we concerned that if the alley is closed, then each landowner get 10 feet of the alley.
Correct.
But my concern is that if Mr. Foster get the other 10, we cannot get in and out.
Well, he won't, I mean, even though he's already poured concrete,
Yeah, he's already
it
poured
looks
concrete
like
on
he's already
10
poured
feet of it.
the full width of the alley.
Yeah. Just 10 feet of the alley. He's already poured concrete on 10 feet of the alley.
Okay.
Yeah, it shows right here. Look at it. So hopefully he and I could work this out together where we wouldn't have to, and then we can share the alley. But if he get all the alley, how will we have access to get in and out? Because we plan to make a parking lot. And right now, if the alley is given to, all of it to Mr. Foster, then we would have to come back to you to
So
get
in-
another permit.
In this
Yes.
photograph, the undeveloped land to the right is church property,
That's Mr. Foster.
or to the right?
To the right, that's Oakland, yeah, that's our property.
That's
We
your
got
property,
two lots there. That other half of the alley
But they're vacant right now?
is vacant.
And y'all, in the future, have plans for a parking lot?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make
Mhm.
sure I understand the
Okay.
situation. Y'all are across the street?
Sir,
Your actual church building is across the
is
street?
across the street,
Okay.
yes, sir.
All right.
I do have a question. You said you'd only have access through the alley, but wouldn't you have access off Easy Street to those two lots?
There's
also?
no driveway entrance there. It's a curve there.
Okay.
The only driveway entrance is that alley to get in and out to do lawn service. If we did, we have to go over the,
Gotcha.
You can have a curb cut put in?
yes. mhm.
Right.
All right, just on a side note, being a neighbor, do you live in the neighborhood as well?
I live about 4 or 5 blocks
I mean,
right off of C.E. Galloway.
Your opinion, how do you feel about the size of the structure on that lot and its impact
Of
on the
his
neighborhood?
structure?
Mhm.
I think he's got a good thing going for him. You know, I just, I wish he had come to me, because I could have really helped him out with these crooked people, you know, because I've dealt with them before.
But I mean, nothing else in that area is this, on this scale, right? Everything else, single family, single story, frame homes,
Yeah, right,
right?
yeah. I think he's the only 2-story.
Okay,
One down the street, okay.
Ron, you can't speak at this point. So, our concern as a board, and we are not professional planners, we are citizens who are appointed to this board,
Yeah.
to try to do the best we can
Mm-hmm.
to implement the ordinances that city council passes, right? So, part of that is to maintain some kind of similarity in neighborhoods, right? So that they all have kind of the same appearance, right? And some cohesiveness for each neighborhood, right? You wouldn't want a house that's built in Southern Trace sitting in the center of a 40-foot lot, surrounded by 40-foot lots, 40-foot wide lots, right? It's out of character for the neighborhood. Do you think what he's building will attract or detract, or add to or detract from the neighborhood?
I don't think it would detract.
Okay.
I don't think it would detract. I think it would add to it, because really, you know, a lot of, in that area, a lot of improvement needs to be done, a lot of it.
Even though he's in violation of several zoning ordinances?
Well, if he's in violation, you know, he's still my brother, because I'm a Roan and he's a Roan, so God bless him.
Right, I guess I'm asking, you know, the principle of matter and what we have before us and how we have to, you know, handle each case that comes before us.
I don't hear you.
It's okay.
Mhm.
I guess I'm getting off topic.
Okay.
Any questions for Pastor Roan?
No.
Okay, Mr. Roan. All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Anyone else wish to speak against BAC 7-17? You have a question for him?
Oh, shoot, I forgot what I was gonna ask him.
All right,
I remember now.
all right, Mr. Foster Roan, you have an opportunity for a rebuttal if you care. You have an opportunity to come back to the podium.
Thank you.
What
I was
Mr.
about to
Burke?
say, yes, we have other homes in that area, and I'm doing something to improve the area, because our mayor is saying about improving our area, and that will be improving. Because they said, every time I asked, the mayor had been out, and her assistant's been out, and a lot of other people been out, looking at my area.
We are
And they
all
said
for-
they,
we are
sir,
all for
you said you let me, you let me speak? Sure. You said, so all of this is happening, you understand, and I'm trying to do something great. I'm not trying to tear nothing down, because I have crooks out there that's trying to keep me from doing it. That's life, but I'm trying to make things right. That's why I went to the DA and all this and bring these guys to justice, because a lot of other people in the area is getting ripped off. So, but the thing is, I'm trying to do something better for the area, and there's other homes out there that's 2 stories, and we're trying to make something better in that area, because Stony Hill is a beautiful place, and we ain't got to go nowhere else and build no. The house is going to be worth $350,000 when I get through with it. And I'm just saying, there's something in that area. It's going to be nice. Yes, it is.
I had a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I think there is 2 ways I think that we can vote. We can defer this, that you have a...
There are 3 ways we can vote.
Well, 3 ways. I apologize. 3 ways we can vote. Yes, no, or defer it, that you have a chance to work out, have more chance to work this out, that you come back in more favorable terms to help us vote in your favor, if possible.
I wish you would, sir.
But that, just to let you know, that's one of the options we can do. Or
Right.
you can say, you know, I'm not interested. I want a yes or no today from you.
Well, I mean, I can't tell you that. What I'm doing is telling you the truth, what's going on in my life, and I'm trying to make something better for the area, and I hope you guys to see what I'm doing,
But
and so you're voting.
You're acceptable if we defer this case for you to try to work out some details?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, my last comment for the record is, we are all for improving the neighborhoods, right? But it has to be done within the guidelines of the ordinances of the city and the community.
And I want to do that.
Fair enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, what do we hear?
I move to defer to the next meeting, that he has a chance to possibly work out some details.
All right, the motion by Mr. Bergeron to defer and continue for 30 days.
Second.
Second by Mr. Stewart. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Rowan, I would suggest you get with staff to see exactly the kind of information they need from you. Mr. Jean or someone to just follow up so we can make an appointment. He'll give you one. Tab 12 is case number BAC 8-17. $8015 Broadacres.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Roberts. My address is 2391 Highway 486 in Campty, Louisiana. And I'm here today to request a mobile home and secondary resident at the property located on 8015 Broadacres Road.
All right, before questions, there is a stipulation that the approval is subject to the approval of a plat creating a new legal lot of record. Are you familiar, are you aware of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions from the board for Mr. Roberts?
I have one question. When I'm looking, well, now that I'm looking at the site now, it doesn't show it there. There was a structure, it looked like, when I was looking at another aerial before the meeting, that was where you were going to put your drive, but on this one here today, I don't see that structure anymore. So, never mind, I don't have a question.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 8-17? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 8-17? What do we hear?
Move to approve with steps.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bergeron, second by Ms. Osborne to approve with STIPs. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Case BAC 9-17, 910 Piermont Road.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. I'm Alvin Childs, 330 Marshall, Suite 200, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. I'm here in my capacity as manager of Piermont Office Park, Roman numerals 1 and 2 LLC, which is the owner of the 3 buildings that are office buildings at Piermont and Lyon Avenue. I assume you've all heard or familiar with an adage about no good deed going unpunished. Well, I'm going to give you 2 instances in my life. They're rare because I was actually trying to just be a good neighbor, and that's why I'm here today. I'll make this brief. About 30 plus years ago, a competitor of mine and a friend of mine, Lee Hall, developed Piermont Office Park, and he was developing the last phase of that complex, that 3-building complex, the one that's closest to Del Mar, on the northern portion of the property. And as he was developing the building, he noticed that his upper floor tenants were going to have unobstructed views of the residents in the rear yards of the residents on Del Mar Street on the south side. Those residents happened to also come to the same conclusion, and everybody got together and they decided they wanted to make the fence that was going to be constructed between the office park and their residents a little higher than 8 feet minimum. And that was done. It was led by a woman by the name of Margaret Bollinger and her next door neighbor, Mildred Tippett. I happened to be familiar with it because I was also a resident of Del Mar, lived on the other side, and even though Lee was a competitor of mine, he was a competing product, he was a friend, and to be a good neighbor, I came to the hearing in support of the variance for that fence height. It was discussed at length, and ultimately it was granted, and the fence was constructed, and this was done behind Ms. Bollinger's home. Well, the world goes to in a basket.
Can I ask one question real quick?
Yes, sir.
When you said behind her home, so this 12-foot fence only occurred behind her home?
No, sir. No, sir. That's a good question, Mr. Bergeron. This fence extends from the increased height from Ms. Bollinger's house approximately all the way to the Piermont Office Park line, and I think another about 40 or 50 feet. It's on our requirement. So it's an extended thing that goes on 2 lines. Good question. In any event, Lee suffers, like a lot of us did in the business, the collapse of the economy here, and he ended up losing those properties. Our company ended up putting a group together, and we bought them some 25 years ago, and we've managed them ever since. And everything's just rolling along swimmingly. Everybody's getting along. And I happened to notice last year that fence, we periodically made repairs to it and replaced the portions of it, the lower portion I might add. But the height on our property, that's increased height, had really become deteriorated. And here was my second good deed. I went to our property manager and said, you know, we really need to be good neighbors here. We need to fix that fence. Now, I said, truthfully, I didn't remember who actually constructed that fence, whose expense it was. Really, truthfully, didn't know who owned it. But I said, let's just be good neighbors and let's go fix it. And so we did. And fix it ended up being replacing it. And it looks great, just like it was before. And lo and behold, a few months later, I get a notice from my friend Mr. Clark that there's been a complaint that we are in violation of the building code and the fence is too high. I said to Mr. Clark, I said, well, I don't see how that's possible. We just put it back like it was before. There was a variance before, blah, 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 blah. Well, we can't find the variance. Well, we find the variance. It takes a long time, but we find the variance. It happens to be for a portion of the fence that's for Ms. Bollinger's. I don't know why it's a big deal to anybody anyway. I suspect we'll hear more about that later from some of the people in opposition to this request. But so we just rock along and we decide, I tried what to do, and so we proceed, and I said, fine, we'll just put the fence at 8 feet. And we start doing that, and I mean, an hour goes by, we're just in the process of it, and the neighborhood goes up in arms and calls me and says, please don't do this. Please put that fence back where it was. So I stopped and called Mr. Clark and said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to hire an engineer, we're going to fill out the permits, we're going to go through the whole process and try to get a variance and try to make it right. So that is why we're here today. The end product will be a fence that is exactly in appearance, for all appearances' sake, exactly as it was some 30 or 35 years ago. I will confess to one error on our part, and that is that in the process of repairing/replacing the fence, our contractor, in the zeal for efficiency, moved the fence about 6 to 8 inches, and so technically it is a new structure. I argued with Mr. Clark about that and said we didn't do that until I went out there myself and saw it and had to call him with egg on my face and say I was wrong. We did move it, and whether you move it, I understand completely, an inch or 5 feet, it's a move, and so it is a new fence, so it is appropriate that we are here today. I hated to have to go through this process, but that's why we're here. You're going to hear from some other people in the neighborhood that I think will attest to their support for this, and I ask for your serious consideration, and I would be happy to answer any questions you have.
Mr. Childs, did I mishear, or did you say that the original variance was discovered? So there is a...
Yes, the original
record of
variance was
that?
discovered.
Okay.
But as a technical matter, and I mean, I hate to have to admit this, as a technical matter, it's moot because it's a new structure, and
Okay.
if it were sitting here saying we were in compliance, it's a new fence.
Okay.
I wish that were not the case, but it is.
All right, any questions for Mr. Childs?
I have a question for staff. If it would have gone back in the same exact location, would we be sitting here today?
Probably. Well, I say, if it's a new structure, and I'll let Alan answer that question, would it, being a new structure, even though it's in the same location, would it be allowed to remain as is?
I think one thing that was left out is that the fence was damaged by a tree or something falling on it. And we went through the process of considering the fence as a non-conforming fence until at such time we found a variance for a fence next door to this fence. We never found anything, a variance for this fence, but the one granted, and we still don't understand, because I've listened to all the stories in interest from Mr. Childs, of Ms. Bollinger and so forth, but that's what the case was, and we would have had to evaluate the fence and the damage incurred to replace the fence to determine whether or not we would be here today.
You can rest assured I asked the same question. But once I admitted my sin of moving the fence, it became moot, so it just went on with it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr.
Yes,
Childs.
sir. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 9-17?
Good afternoon. I'm Michelle Perkins. I live next door to the fence in question, and I live in Miss Bollinger's old residence. We